preparing to live stream the meeting. Okay, we are live on YouTube. Thank you so much, Emily and Kamani, for joining from Fivetran. This is the Get Hired Summit, and we're going to be learning more about you as a company and opportunities that are available. So I'll go ahead and kick it over to the Fivetran team if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself. I'll stop video on my end and be here to wrap it up at the end. Thanks, Emily and Kamani.
All right, thank you for that. Hello, everyone. My name is Kimani. I'm a technical recruiter here at Fivetran. I joined the company back at the end of March, and now I help the company hiring engineering and product people.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name's Emily. I'm a Fivetran teammate, normally in Oakland. I'm coming to you from Oregon today. I joined the company last April as a recruiter and focus on filling our go-to-market roles in sales, marketing, and a little bit of product too. So nice to meet you all virtually. Well, today we are going to jump right in and talk a little bit about who Fivetran is. We are a company in the Bay Area, like I mentioned. We began as a kind of ETL, fresh approach to ETL, if you will. And if you're not familiar with that, what that is, don't worry, we'll dig right into it here shortly. But basically, our co-founders started this cool new company and this new way of managing data back in 2013 out of a Y Combinator program. If you've not heard of that, it's kind of like a seed funding program for startups that have really promising products or services. So we graduated from that program. It took us a couple years to really find our niche in the community, but we've grown a lot over the last couple of years. We're headquartered in Oakland, but we have 8 offices around the world. Our Sydney office, we just opened this year, and we are right over our 400 employee mark. To give you an idea of that growth, when I started last April, we were only about 70 people. So 400 in a year and a half, and definitely shooting to add at least another 100 to the team this year. So a really exciting time to be at Fivetran. One of the things I love about Fivetran is that this company really encourages folks to bring their authentic selves to work every day. It's one of the things that brought me in with my blue hair and eccentric approaches to things. So as we go through this process, I hope you see more reasons why Fivetran is just a really cool place to work. Okay, let's talk about what we do. So an ETL tool is about managing data. I have a short video here. There's no audio, but it has a couple of visuals we're just going to kind of go through to see if this might help paint a picture of what we actually do. And then we'll talk about it afterwards. So let's see if YouTube will behave here. All right, so this is a data scientist or somebody on the analytics team, and they're thinking about all the data floating over their head and how they're going to organize it. Fivetran takes data from all those little sources you see on the screen there and moves it through what we call a pipeline. We're just kind of grabbing it from all these places that it's scattered across the organization. We organize it and we move it to their cloud warehouse or storage location. And so we'll dig into that. But basically, when you think of Fivetran, you can think of like a taxi service for a company's data. And maybe they don't even have a driver's license or know how to drive. But Fivetran can do all of that for them. So similar to what you see here on the screen, like I mentioned, companies have data scattered all over their organization. So on the left in this example, it's files that they want to analyze. It could be things in Salesforce. We even have a connector for Facebook, for example. So maybe they want to know about how many clicks they got on a recent ad campaign. So if a company wants to analyze their data, the very first thing they have to do is get it all in one place first. And that proves to be probably the toughest piece. So a lot of companies have like an in-house engineering team, a whole team of people that are going to each of these sources and grabbing the data and sending it to their cloud for them so that it can be analyzed. And Fivetran really just streamlines that so that these little connectors just sit in each data source and communicate directly to their cloud. They don't have to hit a download button. They don't have to mess with the data to make sure it's in the right format. It just happens thanks to Fivetran. So what that does is allow companies to actually analyze their data. There are some other companies out there doing something similar to Fivetran, but they kind of tend to want to specialize in a lot of different areas. One thing I love about working for Fivetran, and something I think our sales team and our engineering team loves about Fivetran, is that we really focus on data pipelines as a service, just getting the data from point A to point B, as opposed to also offering cloud storage or also offering analytics tools. So this allows us to just be an expert in what we do. And kind of the cool thing that we've done to make up for the fact that we don't offer those things is we have really strong partnerships with companies like Snowflake, Looker, and many more, where they send business to us if a customer needs an ETL service. And in return, if someone comes to us and says, hey, I need you to move my data, and they tell us they don't have a destination yet, we can help them find a partner to solve that problem for them. So it's kind of a cool symbiotic relationship we have in the data community. It's less about, beating out our competition and more about partnering with those in our industry to just be the best that we can be. So high level, that's a little bit about how our product works and the problem that we're trying to solve for our customers. I'm going to move ahead now to our culture and value slide and hand it over to Kamani to talk a little bit more.
Yeah, thank you, Emily. So what I really enjoy about our core values is how well they tie into our culture. So here you see our core values. And when I think of things like integrity, we do the right thing even when it's harder or when no one else may be watching. We work hard to avoid being micromanaging. And because of that, we're awarded with a strong work-life balance with things like unlimited PTO, where we're encouraged to use it freely, yet responsibly. And so far, I haven't seen too many people abuse this. We also have a very transparent culture in which I feel helps us keep the integrity on 100% at all times. You can sign up for lunch with the CEO, and you could also, there's various Slack channels and meetings where the leadership speaks directly to the people, or you can submit anonymous questions and have it answered during our all hands that happen bi-weekly. So those are great things that I enjoy about, the integrity side of the business. Initiative, Fivetran belongs to all of us, and we all take ownership and are accountable for things getting done. Through curiosity, learning, and coaching, we're able to grow as individuals and a team. And if we see something that can be done more effectively or efficiently, we have the power to suggest those changes. And the last one, which is my favorite, one team, one dream. We're all building this rocket ship of a product and a company together. And our leadership reminds us that it takes hard work, but we'll have fun on the way. We do international trips yearly. Unfortunately, not this year, but we're excited to go to Cancun sometime next year or when it's safe to do so. We have President's Club for our top earners in sales. We also pride ourselves on being an inclusive team with people from different backgrounds and ethnicities. We created ERGs for women in the LGBT community, as well as the Black identifying members here, to serve as safe spaces for people from different groups. And I will pass it back to Emily.
Yeah, and that's just a couple of things. If you want to learn more about our culture, we have an awesome Glassdoor page. One thing I love about Glassdoor, it's not really filtered. You can't do anything about what's on there. So please go check it out and see just how much our team really enjoys being part of this fast-growing organization. So speaking of which, we are hiring, and I know I mentioned earlier just a little bit about our growth. There are a lot of things fueling our growth. We've just found a lot of success in the last year or so with our product. We had a great Series B funding round, and we were set to plunge through the rest of the year without any delay. And then we had a surprise Series C funding round. So now we are extra ready to plunge through. We haven't experienced any layoffs since COVID, and we've actually added over 100 people to the team since the company went remote back in March to make sure everybody would stay safe. So we are remote through January, potentially longer. Our team member safety is most important to us. And these are the roles that we're looking to fill here in the near future. So I'll speak on the right side of the slide. We're hiring a few technical success managers right now, product marketers, sales engineers. We also have a manager of HR business partnerships that's not on our website yet, but is coming soon, as well as a manager of account management. So with all of our hiring, not all of these roles are on the website yet, but will be soon. Kimani, do you want to talk a little bit about your side of the house and what's going on there?
Yeah, as I mentioned, we're continuing to build the product, and I hire for product and engineering roles. So we have a number of different product managers, product analysts, as well as product directors available on our site. We also have some pretty senior software engineering roles, from senior to staff, even up to principal. We get the question often, are we hiring interns or entry-level engineers? We do from time to time. We actually are in the process of looking to convert some of our interns engineers. So we should be opening some more of those soon. So just keep your eye on our careers page for that. We also have customer support engineers at different levels, as well as people on our security side for cloud security, as well as application security.
Awesome. So yeah, there's a few ways that you can learn more about the roles we're offering at Fivetran. Fivetran.com/careers is one of the fastest ways. You're also welcome to find Kimani and myself on LinkedIn. If you have any questions, definitely applying on the website is the fastest way to get your application in front of a hiring manager. Also, feel free to mention this event on your application so that we know, kind of where you came from and can connect with you. So, Kimani, is there anything else you'd like to add before we open it up for questions?
No, I mean, oftentimes we hear, tell me about the culture, or how are you adjusting to, the current times? How is it affecting the business? And I joined right at the beginning of the pandemic. While I live 10 minutes from the Oakland office, I've never been to the office. I've never met any of my coworkers in person, but it hasn't slowed down the work. As Emily mentioned, we've hired over 100 people since I've been here in March, and we're excited to continue growing. Our sales team just had an awesome quarter last quarter, and our recruiting team actually broke our Fivetran record for the number of hires that we've made. So, being in an industry like data where it's so important, I think the sky's the limit for what we're trying to do, and I'm excited to be aboard here.
Awesome, me too. Cool. Well, we'd love to just open it up to you and see what you want to know about Fivetran with the rest of the time that we have left. So in the YouTube stream, there's a place for you to ask questions, leave comments, and Kimani will keep an eye out and kind of field those for us as we come in.
Yeah, I see we've answered a few. I see there are a couple questions about remote. You want to touch on that, Emily?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that is probably a huge topic within Fivetran too. A lot of us are thinking, what's going on with remote? Are we going to go back to the office? When are we going to go back to the office? And we're still in the process of determining all of those details. But how it's gone so far is we've hired a ton of folks. If they are near one of our office locations, cool. They're just kind of working from home. We ship them their equipment. We do a lot of video calls to stay connected and feel like we're not alone in our apartments or wherever we're at and isolated. And the plan is the company is fully remote through the end of January. February 1st, we're letting folks know that everyone's expected to come back to the office if that was the terms that they were hired for. Of course, safety has always been first priority. So if COVID is not in a better state by then we will do some extensions. We've also hired a lot of folks who were in a different state, but we're planning to relocate them to Denver or Oakland to be near one of our offices. So Fivetran is really committed to diversity and making sure that we have a wide range of folks that are helping us drive our goal. So we do offer relocation for almost all of our roles. If you don't live near Denver or Oakland and you want to check out one of our positions, just mention, in your application or to your recruiter in your first call where you're at, and they can share more with you about relocation assistance. There are a small handful of roles that are 100% remote, and your recruiter would let you know that in your initial screen. So I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely. I'm seeing another question about diversity and inclusion. I know you kind of touched on that, Emily. And earlier I mentioned that we do have, within the company, we do have ERGs for the Black identifying members at Fivetran, the LGBT community, as well as women. When we think about recruiting and what we're doing for that, we have partnered with a few groups that's going to allow us to just have just get access to the audience. A lot of times with startup companies, first we need people to know about us before we can hire them. But I do admire our initiatives that we've taken. We've done a few things to make sure that the pipeline, the interview and candidate pipeline, continues to have people from all different backgrounds and ethnicities before we make a decision. So kind of like the Rooney Rule, but a little bit more lax. But so far we're really enjoying our time, and I really appreciate our leadership and how they've set this initiative forth for us. Another question I'm seeing is, what is your favorite part about working for the company? Emily, you want to answer that one?
Oh man. Well, before I joined Fivetran, I spent 13 years at a big corporate bank, and this is the first startup I ever worked for. And I think my favorite part of working at Fivetran is just the people. When I interviewed for Fivetran, it was I kind of walked in the door and I was like, you know what? Everything I've read on Glassdoor, I'm just gonna walk in here and be unapologetically Emily. Actually, my picture on this slide is the day that I had my final interview with Fivetran, if you can't see that huge smile on my face. And it's because of the people. Everybody you meet is just so energized about what they're doing. It's like they started their own business and now they've reached this billion-dollar unicorn status, which, by the way, if you haven't seen that article about Fivetran, we are officially a unicorn. Also my favorite part about being at Fivetran. So yeah, I think just it's so energizing that people are genuinely stoked about what they're doing, which means they're ready to roll up their sleeves, help anyone with anything. That's where that one dream, one team comes in. And then it's a lot of fun to go celebrate together too, because you've built such good rapport and camaraderie along the way. So that's my favorite part.
There we go. I'm seeing a few questions about different roles that we're hiring for. And I also want to give kudos to my Fivetran members that are in the chat, responding directly to people. One team, one dream again. But, fivetran.com/careers shows that our different opportunities that we're hiring for today. You can also reach out to myself or Emily through LinkedIn, Kimani West, Emily Chapman, and just, mention the Get Hired event and let us know what type of roles that you're seeking. If we don't have one open today, one could be on the way. That's the beauty of startup life. Things change and move so quickly. And I'm confident that, we're going to continue to open a number of different roles. Like Emily said earlier, we're looking to hire probably around 100 people before the year is up, which makes me think, man, I have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Let me see here. What else do we have? Emily, do you know anything about senior sales leadership?
Sure.
Any opportunities coming up there?
I'm sure there are, because we haven't had one in a few months. And so I know there's got to be something coming for the remainder of the year. So to give you some insight in that, at the back last year, we had this huge kind of growth where we knew we needed to expand sales. So we were going to add a second team at each segment. And one thing I thought was really cool, instead of just hiring a bunch of executive leaders to come in and run the business, we promoted each of our regional sales managers to the next level and said, hey, now that you're managers, you're going to run not only the team that you're working with, but let's add another one. So there are a lot of internal opportunities for sales leadership management, but don't be discouraged if you're already at that level and looking for an opportunity. we're really careful to also continue to bring in external talent, diversify our sales organization, and get those like fresh new perspectives as well. So not a clear date there, but there are lots of opportunities coming this year.
Man, these questions are flying in. I didn't even know that many people were in here, but we're still knocking out some answers. So keep your eyes on the chat because your question may have been answered. It's a lot of questions about different roles that we're hiring for. Oh, I did see one question about what do you look for when hiring someone. So outside of the core skills or what we call core competencies for the role, we really also look for, your mindset and your drive and determination. Our leadership has told us plenty of times that, we have a high potential for this product and for this company, but it's really going to take some hard work to get there. And this is the hard work that we enjoy doing, and we really enjoy putting in this effort to help build this rocket ship of a company. So I think someone that comes in with the idea that you're going to work hard and also have fun along the way, and keeping the core values in mind, that one team, one dream aspect, will help you throughout the interview process as well as your time here.
Yeah, totally. And just an extra tip to know something about the company that you're calling before you get into that first interview. So all of you are very well prepared because you're here learning about Fivetran and lots of other companies. But that's another tip is just, if you're ever going into an interview, do some research, kind of stalk some people online, figure out what's exciting. That way you can get really jazzed about the possible environment you might be jumping into, and the recruiter will feel that energy on your call.
Any other questions? Feel free. We're knocking them out. We're knocking them out. This is great. I love it.
This picture on the screen here with all the women t-shirts is from our corporate retreat last year at Gateway Canyons, which is this beautiful resort out in the middle of nowhere in Colorado, just right on the border. And this is actually just a small portion of the team, but this is when we kicked off our women's team member network. So a really exciting time, and actually my second week with the company. It was so much fun.
Oh, wow. I was scheduled to go to Cancun with the company on my second week, but COVID canceled that. No, postponed it, not canceled.
Postponed, yes.
Yeah, there we go. So hopefully, things clear up a bit for us next year, and we can enjoy that trip as a global company, which is fun. Mm-hmm. Oh, did we talk about our offices?
Oh, we can totally talk more about them. We have 8 of them, but we didn't really talk about where they're at.
Yeah. So we are here in Oakland, as well as Denver for our US offices. And then we also have an office in Australia, which is our newest office, I believe, Russia, India, Dublin, Ireland. And then I always get confused. Is it London and Munich or just Munich?
Both, actually.
There we go. There we go. And with our, recent round of funding raised, we've discussed the opportunities or the options of potentially opening more offices, which will continue to help us, touch different parts of the communities with our hiring. So I'm really excited to see that.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Looks like the questions have slowed down a bit. Hopefully that means we answered them all. This has been great. I definitely want to thank the Mentorly group for, allowing us a chance to speak today. I found out about this a couple days ago, and I was really excited, to join. It's always great to speak to new people and just kind of share what we're doing.
Yeah, most definitely. I was able to pop into a couple of sessions, and I hope everyone finds some really helpful information, kind of scattered around, and that Fivetran was, helpful as well. And kudos to Marnay and Jante, who are members of the Fivetran team you didn't get to see this morning. They played a huge role in helping us put all of this together on short notice and give y'all some good information to help you in your career searches.
Huge thing. Anything else before we wrap up?
I think that's all we have. Just gonna continue to direct people to our careers page.
Well, I know. I actually was not familiar with Fivetran before, but after learning about this, really impressed by the company and what you're building as a team. So kudos for that. And thank you, Kamani. Thank you, Emily, for taking time to tell us more about Fivetran and opportunities that are available. So we really appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Bye all.
Thank you all.